And now it's time for Bison Women's Basketball on 90.5 VBU, part of the Bison Sports Network. Join us now as the Bison take to the hardwood. Let's go courtside with Bison Women's Basketball on Central PA's real alternative, 90.5 VBU.
Live from the rooftop at Case Gymnasium in Boston, Massachusetts, WVBU 90.5 FM proudly presents another production of Bucknell University Women's Basketball. This afternoon, the Herd ushers in the 2018 calendar year with a matinee matchup against the Boston University Terriers. With that, I say Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome courtside. I'm Justin Antweil. We'll have tip at the top of the hour between the 6-6 Bucknell Bison, 0-1 in league play, and the 6-5 Boston University Terriers, 1-0 in league play. Welcome those listening in the Susquehanna Valley on 90.5 FM. Maybe you're also tuning in globally on WVBU.com or via the TuneIn app on your mobile devices. Just search WVBU on the free TuneIn app on your iPhone, iPad, or Android. Bucknell, losers of 3 straight. They already have as many losses this year as they did last year in their record-setting year when they were 27-6 and won the Patriot League regular season outright, and of course went to the NCAA tournament by virtue of winning the Patriot League Conference tournament. Just their 3rd ever NCAA tournament appearance. But you lose the winningest team in your class in program history. You've got 5 newcomers in the team. They've dealt with injuries to Tessa Brugler, Allie Johnson, and Gia Hayes. The now juniors that were sophomores last year have elevated roles. Can they be focal points? These are the questions that Coach Purcell has as Bucknell's coming off a 68-58 loss to American, a very disciplined American team in the nation's capital back on December 29th. As for Boston, this is a program that has definitely turned the corner. 3 years ago, they were 5-25. 2 years ago, they were 3-27. They were in the middle of a 30-game road losing streak from 2014 through 2016. Well, they opened up league play on December 29th with a big-time road win at Army West Point. 60-59 was the final. Nia Irving, who earlier this afternoon was named Patriot League Women's Basketball Player of the Week, had the game-winning layup off the left block with 11.8 seconds left to propel Boston to a big-time victory to kick off the 18-game league play slate. This will be the 9th all-time meeting between Bucknell and Boston. Bucknell leads the all-time series 7-1. Remember, Boston is new to the Patriot League. This is just their 5th year in the Patriot League. Both them and Loyola came to the league starting in the 2013-2014 season. Prior, Boston was in the America East. They've only made 1 NCAA tournament appearance. That was way back in 2003. Well, it's a nice homecoming for Bucknell freshman Autumn Seppi, who grew up about 15 minutes away from Case Gymnasium. In fact, after yesterday's 7-hour bus ride, we stopped at Autumn Seppi's house, and her father Michael and her mother Jenny welcomed us to their home for the holidays, and we had a lavish meal. We got to watch some of the college football playoff. So it was a good team bonding experience, good to be together, good to break up the monotony from a long bus ride. And I know the girls had a good shoot-around earlier today at 8 a.m. Coach Russell said there was a nice extra pep in everybody's step because this is a team that is hungry to turn the corner, especially this junior class. The big 3 of Slagus, Walker, and English have to get it going if this team wants to have any sort of success in league play this year. Still a lot of time left, 17 regular season games left. Nobody's pressing the panic button. Remember, this team lost 3 games in a row earlier this year, then proceeded to win 4 in a row. So now they're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. They're trying to win 4 in a row. As for Boston, they've got a lot of size. They play well together. And I think that's the biggest thing that Katie Stedding has instilled. Look, there wasn't a lot of talent when she came in. Like I mentioned, they won 8 games combined in a 2-year stretch. But they've got some talent now, but more importantly, just playing together. Before, it just looked like they were just one-on-one basketball players when I saw this team a couple of years ago. But they are meshing well together. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll talk about some stars for both these teams. We'll profile the coaches, and we'll hear from Aaron Russell. Tip at the top of the hour, shortly after 2 p.m. Eastern Time between Boston and Bucknell. Happy New Year to all. This should be a good one. A matinee hoops affair on this Tuesday afternoon. You're listening to exclusive coverage of Bucknell women's basketball on WVBU 90.5 FM and Learfield Sports.
You're listening to Bison Women's Basketball on Central PA's Real Alternative 90.5 VBU. This is the Bison Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ripa. 3 in every 10 Americans will be involved in an alcohol-related crash at some time in their lives. My sister was one of them when she was hit by a drunk driver. Fortunately, she survived, but that's not always the case. Each year, more than 17,000 people are killed and 500,000 others are injured due to someone's senseless decision to drink and drive. Be smart. Drive sober. Call 1-800-GET-MAD or visit mad.org.
Bison Women's Basketball on Central PA's Real Alternative 90.5. This is VBU.
It's Justin Antweil courtside on the rooftop, 3rd floor at Case Gymnasium as we continue the WVBU pregame show. Boston and Bucknell tip off at the top of the hour. Let's talk about some stars. For Bucknell, they've got to get their big 3 going of their junior class of Caitlin Slagus, Kai English, and Kate Walker. We saw some flashes of brilliance from Kate Walker in the 10-point loss to American on December 29th to open up league play. Career high 23 points, chipped in with 8 rebounds as well. She's just been able to drive down the right and left side of the key. Talking to Coach Russell, her ball handling skills have just improved this year, but they need Caitlin Slagus to get back to Caitlin Slagus' form. I mean, she's the wild card in all of this. A preseason first-team All-League selection, Rookie of the Year her first year, second-team All-League selection her sophomore year. But it's just been a really uncharacteristic junior season for Caitlin Slagus. Caitlin Slagus last year had multiple three-pointers in a game 11 times. Through the first 12 games this season, that's only happened once. And here's what's startling to me about Caitlin Slagus. Last year, she could hit free throws with her eyes closed. 86% free throw shooter. She's already missed more free throws this year than she did all of last year. It's January 2nd. She's a 65% free throw shooter this year, 86 like I mentioned last year. Coach Russell thinks it's just between the ears right now. He's not really sure what has prolonged this slump. But all it takes is one shot to go in, to get the confidence going, to get that extra pep in your step. And if they get Slagus to get going, I think good things will happen. And they need Kai to be efficient from beyond the arc. Just a 19% three-point shooter this year. She's in the midst of a 1 for 14 funk from downtown. Her first 2 years, she was a 35% three-point shooter. So if they get the big 3 going, I think that will take the pressure off all the other role players. And, look, we're seeing the freshmen kind of turn the corner. I thought Tessa Brugler had an efficient game, a career-high 8 rebounds. Remember, she battled mono for like a 6-week stretch, so she's still getting her legs under. I think the pieces are there with Bucknell. It starts with the big 3 in the junior class. As for Boston, well, they've got a lot of weapons. It starts with Sophie Beaudre. That's who they run their offense through. She's a 6'5" redshirt senior from Quebec. First-team All-League selection, a transfer from Monmouth. I mean, you can't teach size, particularly at the mid-major level, and just a very efficient shooter. I just love what she's doing. Averages 7.7 points per game, 5.1 rebounds. The key with her, and 2.1 blocks per game, she's got to stay out of foul trouble. She's still a little raw. She still gets a little antsy and commits the foul. When you get in foul trouble, you got to sit on the bench. So if Sophie Beaudre stays disciplined, well, that could be a matchup nightmare down low for Boston. And then the backcourt's been very efficient for Boston. Junior Peyton Hawk out of York, Pennsylvania, and freshman Katie Nelson from Falmouth, Massachusetts. Nelson coming off a career-high 8 assists in the 1-point win against Army. She's a true facilitator, just accelerates to the front court, dribbles with her head up, just plays with so much poise. She's somebody who just reacts. She doesn't really think out there. She's in a bit of a drought from downtown, 0 for her last 7. But if Katie Stedding gets her to pass the ball at a rapid rate, well, the dominoes will align properly for Boston because Nia Irving is the reigning Patriot League Player of the Week after the game-winning basket against Army on December 29th. She's a big-time recruit, the 2015 Maine High School Gatorade Player of the Year. She averages over 11 points per game. So those are your stars for Boston. Let's talk about the coaches. Bucknell, they're led by sixth-year head coach Aaron Russell. He's won Patriot League Coach of the Year each of the last 2 years, but he doesn't have Claire DeBoer and Sune Sword and Megan McGurk, the most prolific senior class walking out of that tunnel. He's got a new cast of characters, and it's going to take some time for everybody to hit their stride. But he's trying his hardest, and he's hoping maybe the new calendar year, a new month, can help recharge the batteries with this team. As for Boston, they are led by fourth-year head coach Katie Stedding, a former assistant at Cal, San Francisco, Columbia, even in the WNBA with the Atlanta Dream. She's been all over. She's most known for being the 1990 national champion for the Stanford Cardinal. Played under Tara Vandermeer, a psychology degree from Stanford. She was the Chevrolet Player of the Game in the title game back in 1990, tallied 18 points and 7 rebounds in an 88-81 victory against Auburn. Also a 1996 gold medalist for USA Basketball. And she's had a lot of success, but this was a big-time rebuilding project. She had to go through a 3-win season 2 years ago. But we're going to step aside. Remember, tip at the top of the hour between Boston and Bucknell. We're going to hear from the aforementioned Aaron Russell. We're going to get his thoughts on this team's 3-game losing streak, the bright spots that this team was able to draw from in the loss to American, and just the vibe of this team heading into a matinee affair against the Boston University Terriers. All ahead on the WVBU pregame show, 90.5 FM and Learfield Sports.